Hey guys, welcome to the video. This is directly from my live stream where I do all sorts of stuff live. So if you want to, you can catch that over at twitch.tv/Sifter Studios. I had a question from one of my viewers yesterday about my big template, and I am planning on doing a video just going through that, but the question was if I can show the process of adding a library through Vienna Ensemble Pro, which is a software we could talk at length about. It is here. We could talk a lot about it. It has a lot of cool features, and one of them is to send MIDI over via network and get audio back. So right now I'm at a remote desktop of a computer at the other side of the hall, where I have a lot of instruments already loaded, and as soon as I turn that PC on, this loads kind of. So that is great and dandy. So I want to show how I would add this and the whole process, and so I'm going to add a library called Albion 5, and I'm probably not going to show the whole thing, but I'm going to show the process at least. So I like to organize things. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a folder by right-clicking in Vienna Ensemble. I'm going to call it Albion 5. Inside here I'm going to insert a plugin. We are going to use Kontakt. Right, so this is now inside the folder. And I used a system where I had multiple outputs, and where the different instances of the Kontakt is purple, and the outputs in between is has no color, just so it's really easy to see. And a lot of this was gathered from Jason Graves, so again, check out his YouTube channel to learn all my tricks that I learned from him. So I'm gonna rename this just Albion 5, and we'll see how many tracks we'll need for that. I know I have some expression maps as well tucked off somewhere, so I think I'm only going to do the orchestra. I'm not going to do the loops. The percussion I have already in another place, and maybe the Grid Evo, but let's start with the orchestra, and we're going to do this like in a orchestra order, like how it would be written on a page. And so we're going to start with the woods. And we could do this one or two ways. We could pack together all of the short sounds and all of the long sounds. I think at this point for Tundra, I'm just going to leave them in one output. And so this is going to be very easy, and I'm going to guide you through it. So Woods High is here. I'm just going to load in Woods Low, and we can have up to 16 here. Remember, this is up to 16 MIDI in. So Woods, and then we do Brass High, Brass Low, and Strings High Main, and then Strings High Soft and Wild, Strings Low Main, and Strings Low Soft and Wild. That gets us to 8, which is perfectly fine. We're gonna leave some room for that's right, this has some randomization built into it, so I'm not gonna include it. My philosophy about Vienna Ensemble changed recently, and I'm now leaving only the stuff that I never change, because it's going to save a lot on loading and saving times in different projects, and I'm instead leaving those as disabled tracks in Cubase. So I'm kind of moving towards a hybrid between the modular template series that I already made some videos about and my own ginormous template. Okay, so these are now set to 1 through 8 MIDI inputs. I need to select the MIDI in for Vienna Ensemble, and the easiest way for me to have a look at what would be the next one in order is to move into the mixer. You could do that down here, and I'll just look at the last Kontakt instance, which it was Harps and Choir, and here that was number 21, that number there. So I'm just gonna say 22, and I'll show you very soon what I mean. Next thing is for me to go to a folder called buses. Now there's different ways of setting up the Vienna Ensemble thingy. You could have individual outputs for every single track, and Vienna can handle that. That would mean a lot of tracks in Cubase, and so I settled on kind of trying to sort things a little bit before they go into Cubase, just to make it a little bit easier. So buzz-wise, output-wise, last one is 7576. So I am going to right-click and do Insert Bus. That's going to make a new bus, and I'm going to call it Albion 5. Easy as that. And the output for that is going to be 77 and 78. And if you want, you could route these. So I could choose to route it to another bus and not to another output if I wanted to. In this case, I'm going straight to an output, and let's color it. Hello. Change color. Where do I do that? Is there a window here that I'm not aware of? There we go. So do this and there, and that one is that's not the correct one. This guy, yes, great. Now I'm just gonna change that color to something beautiful, right? And so the output of the Kontakt instance, which is right here, I'm now going to send to that bus that I just made. Okay, and the only reason in this case for me to do that is just to have it make sense visually. Okay, so I know that the sound that comes out from here will come out here, and I have a volume fader, and if I wanted to, I could add an EQ here. I could do a lot of different things, add reverb and stuff outside of Cubase if I wanted to. All right, that is basically what I'm gonna have to do in Vienna Ensemble. So I'm gonna head back into Cubase, and this is my big template, still under construction as always. And right now we are working with this very cool software called Sherlock, which I'm undoubtedly going to make more videos about. But if I wanted to add Albion 5 here, I'm just going to show you how I would do it. The first thing you would have to do is to go from, so let's say over here, you need to go to VSTi and find your instance of Vienna Ensemble Pro, which in my case is this one. Main Ensembles is what it's called. I'm not going to edit it, but I'm going to click this little drop down arrow and click activate outputs. And you can see I already have a lot of these activated, and I've named them and they show up like this. That's great. But I need to activate 77 and 78, which is the output for the bus that I just made. So I'm just going to click this, and this is now active and shows up. So we can show all tracks now, and under VST instruments these are located, and so I just need to find the correct one, which is main ensembles. Open up that one, and here is my new output. Great. So let me rename it Albion 5, and just check that that is the same. So for some of these I've made more outputs. For the Albion 4, for example, I've made more outputs, but for Albion 2 and 3 there's only one output. So depending on what I'm going to use it for, I'm making more or less outputs. In this case we are fine with just one, and coloring it something. Great. Next we are adding MIDI tracks, and this is very easy. We're gonna add just 8 MIDI tracks. Great. And we can say, if we want to, we can say Albion 5, like so. I'm going to select all of them, and actually they're already routed, but they wouldn't be routed to the right thing. So let me just say not connected, and to do that to all the selected track, I'm doing Alt or Option Shift. Okay. And now the way I usually do it is just to search for the number of the output, because that's going to show me basically all the Vion Ensemble instances, and then I do Option Shift main ensembles. Okay, now these are not set up correctly, so usually I save this as a track preset where I have 16 MIDI channels sorted from MIDI channel 1 through 16, but in this case I'm just going to do it by hand for 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, there's lots and lots to talk about with Vion Ensemble, so that might be coming, or there's other YouTube channels and videos that are very descriptive where I learned these things. So if I now play something, I get sound, and what's happening in this case, yes, I'm just gonna check if you guys see my piano. Yes, you see my piano. So I'm terribly sorry if you haven't been able to see everything that's on the bottom of the screen earlier. Terribly sorry. Now it's gone. If I go back to this Albion and click the instrument so I can see the names, I can now write in. So my next point would be write in Woods, and a little trick that I use when naming is I copy the name and then this little spacer with a space after. I copy that, and then I say high woodwind, and then I click paste. Then I say low woodwind, high brass, low brass, high strings main. I remember these. High strings. There was something about wild. Soft and wild. Soft and wild, low strings main, and then low strings soft and wild. Okay, that's my next point. And after that, you know, there's not too much to do. I have a very specific way to color things, so I would color things like this. Because these are ensembles, I use the lighter colors for that. And this, and then high strings would be this guy, and there, and there. And I have a key command set up for making a folder that shifts space. So that would be Spitfire Albion 5, and that would then have its own color that I believe is this color, and then that would go into the ensembles folder. Okay, we're almost there. What I do in addition is to take advantage of this little part here, which can be linked to a output, a physical output. So these are MIDI tracks, remember, and they can then be linked to a physical output and enable you to add inserts to that output even though you're on the MIDI track physically in the arrange view. And that is mind-boggling for me, and it's insanely good feature that I don't think too many people know about. So the way to set that up is to choose an output here. Oh, and the output is now. So you can choose whatever output you want. You can choose an output from the instrument that the MIDI track is sending its MIDI data to. So in this case, when it's Piano Ensemble Pro, it could be a lot of different outputs. And since and that's actually why I named them as well, like I have done. So now I can choose Albion 5 and then select the Albion 5 output, and I'll go through and do that for all of these. All of these 8 tracks, like so. And if I now play high brass, first of all, you'll see Piano Ensemble flashing because it's receiving data, and it's also switching its view so that if I switch, if I alt tab to Piano Ensemble, the contact instance that is receiving MIDI data is going to be shown, which is super handy. But I can have a look at this audio fader now, and I can see whether or not its audio is coming in. And if I wanted to, I could add a insert to that, and I could open the output up in the channel settings and add sends and inserts, and that's also part of what I do in my template. And we're getting a little specific here, so we'll see how helpful this is, but this is my workflow at least. So these are my groups that I'm sending all of the outputs and all of the instruments to, and all of the audio inputs if I'm doing live recording. So everything goes into one of these folders basically. And for this thing, I think we have an ensemble thingy. Do we? We don't. We should. Ooh, something to add. So that's probably why I did now it's very interesting to me to have a look at where did I route the Albion 2 and 3. I sent that to sound design. Why did I send it to sound design, you may ask? I don't know. Let's do that now as well. So let's just have consistency, and then we can change the mistakes afterwards. Okay, so we'll send this to sound design, and then in addition to that, I'll add a reverb send, and all of the reverbs are marked with a double X, so that I really easily can search and know that if I type XX space, I'll only see the effects. And we did SD Extra 1, I believe. And then I'll turn that on and send some splosh, so we get some reverb on that one. Okay, now I can close down this. So this whole VST instruments folder is something I don't want to see. I don't want to see input-output channels. I don't want to see group channels. I don't want to see effects channels. And I can show you this working now because if I believe I have a here we go, Albion Tundra Orchestra. I have a macro that will look for this folder if I spelled it correctly. Let's see. If I click it, this is now going to show up and everything else is hidden. So this is one of the joys of using software like this, to be able to look for and gather what I want from this template, now consisting of almost 1900 tracks, and being able to grab the synth that I want, or indeed to go back to viewing all tracks. So I think that's my workflow for adding stuff into Vienna Ensemble. That's 22 minutes, so hopefully you guys got something out of that. I'm live streaming here again on twitch.tv/SifterStudios every Monday, and lately I've been doing it every night, so I'm having a lot of fun making this template and finishing it. And so more videos to come, and I'll see you guys next time.